Hey, this is Matthew and welcome back to Nerd News Today. And this time around, we're checking out a brand new toy line of Starships that you can build, customize, and play with via augmented reality on your smart devices. We're talking about Snapships. We first saw Snapships back at Toy Fair 2020 from the PlayMonster booth. And you guys might remember PlayMonster as the same folks who make the My Singing Monsters line of toys, which is based on the very popular app, one that we love here at Nerd News Today. And we equally loved those action figures that they made. And if you guys want to check out our reviews of Wave 1, the minis, and some of the holiday themed ones, go ahead and check out the links you'll find in the description below. But at Toy Fair 2020, Snapships debuted, and we were blown away by how cool they were. We thought the demo was really awesome, the ships looked really cool, and the concept around it just seemed something that was fairly unique and different amongst all the other toys we were seeing at Toy Fair. And that video, needless to say, has done very well for us here in Nerd News Today, and we've seen that you guys are super interested in these ships. And that's why PlayMonster was actually kind enough to send us a box to get us started and give us a little bit of a demonstration to show you at home what Snapships are all about. So PlayMonster sent us a box which had two different ships inside it. We were sent the Saber and the Scarab. The Saber, which is the XF-23 Interceptor, is part of the good guys, and the Scarab is the Claw Interceptor, which is part of the bad guys group. The boxes have a very cool shape to it, and best of all, they are totally reusable. In fact, you can see me here cutting off the tape on the lid of this box and just popping it open. So that's a great way to store your spare parts because you're gonna have some spare pieces in here as you build these, but we'll talk about that in a minute. It's also fairly important that you don't throw out that box because the lid of it is actually your base for the ship. You can see on the top over here that it's got this little hole here, so that's where you're going to be putting your ship on once it's totally completed. But again, you could still put that right back on top of this box if you hold on to it. The front of the packaging has a really nice illustration of the ship that you're getting, as well as a look at the other builds you can do with this, because all of the Snapships have more than one build, and their instructions come in fact with 3 builds for this particular item, but of course you can customize it however you want to. The packaging also lets us know how these things work, which is by snapping them together, no glue or any special equipment required, and reminds you to keep that lid to use as a display stand as we just mentioned. The back of the box shows you pretty much all of the pieces you're going to be getting in this, as well as some statistics for each different ship. It also shows you some of the other play function, which is the battling with real shooting weapon play, and also mentions that you're going to get a specialized piece of UJU technology. As we saw at Toy Fair, what that tech is basically a supersized ultra weapon, if you will, that you can attach to the ships, and whatever you get is going to be different depending on what you get. And that's not to say it's going to be the same piece you get every time you buy this. It's a bunch of different pieces of tech that are ultimately superior missile firing technology that you're going to be able to customize your ships with. Packaging also mentions that it comes with a minifigure. You get a pilot with each one of these toys. And most importantly, it reminds you to download the Snapships app for interactive builds and play. We'll talk about the app momentarily. So once you do open the ship up, everything slides out into this nice plastic tray. There's stuff on both sides of it. Just be careful if you decide to tip it over because as you saw with me here, I accidentally dumped a few pieces out, but it wasn't too bad. For the most part, the majority of the pieces are stored in a plastic bag or they're taped down. So you can easily just cut those bags open, dump the parts out, and get started. So right now, this is footage of me building the Saber, and I really had no problems putting this piece together. There was only 1 or 2 times that I actually had any issues doing anything, but luckily they include a separation tool as part of the package. That's something that LEGO's been doing for the past few years also, and it's really handy that they actually include this with you because if things do get stuck in there, you're going to need a little bit of help getting them out there. That's not to say they're in there like to the point where you're going to hurt yourself trying to pull them out like LEGO sometimes. Luckily, with this separation tool here, it makes life super easy as you're going to see during the review, and I definitely appreciate that they included that in there. So the instructions are super easy to follow, and looking at the instruction book, you might think this is going to be like an enormously complicated build because the instructions are 40 pages long. But the reason they are so many pages is because you get the 3 different builds in there, so you have a choice of how you want to build your ship. Today, I'm just going to do the vanilla build number 1, and it was very simple to follow. The instructions are really easy. The pieces are fairly different enough that it's not going to be too hard to find what you're looking for. And the instructions are also very, very clear. The manual rotates around the pieces and lets you know that this has been rotated. It gives you a clear, colorful illustration of what the pieces look like and how they're supposed to look when they fit together. They made it super simple and foolproof. And because of that, it took me a leisurely 10 minutes to actually put this ship together. Now, if you're trying to actually build this thing really fast, you could probably do it way faster, but I wanted to take my time with this one because there's no reason for me to rush. So even taking my time, it was only 10 minutes to put the entire ship together. Now, once you've got your ship entirely completed, there's actually a few different things you can do at that point as well. as you're going to see here, you can pop out some of the sections of the ship to replace with other sections. In this case here, what I'm replacing one of those panels on the top with is one of 2 missile launchers that this comes with. So these are the smaller green missile launchers. And unlike the Secret technology, these are not spring-loaded. These are purely based on how much force you press into them to get them to fire. So in concept, they do look very cool, and I think they help the ship stand out and be a little bit more colorful, but in practicality, they're a little rough. I had a hard time firing these missiles once they were actually on the ship. And a big part of that is because you need to get a lot of force when you press this down to get it to launch, like you're gonna see here. That worked pretty well. But when you're on the ship, what you need to do is remove these missiles here, I think. And once you do that, you'll have more space to press your thumb down to launch them better. Otherwise, they're not gonna launch very well at all if they even fire, period. They kind of just stumble out of it at best. Usually they just get stuck in there and don't do anything. So if you wanna actually use that, I think they either need to be higher up on another block perhaps, or just take those back missile launchers off. But once you got the whole ship completed, I gotta say it looks very awesome. It's a really cool looking ship. Both of them are really nice ships, but I'll show you guys how the Scarab looks a little bit later on. But yeah, they're easy to build, customizable, and even then there's still things you can do with it, like the wings actually move up and down, the guns in the bottom of the ship rotate, and of course we should mention that the cockpit opens and closes, and that's because you get a pilot. So what I'm showing you guys now is how the pilot is packaged in there, and the pilot is sitting next to the secret weapon, which I'm gonna unveil in a minute. But as for the pilot figure, they're very detailed as well. You know, I gotta say I'm very impressed for the size of them and how much detail they put into them and how clean the paint job is too. These aren't like super duper detailed minifigures. There's no pupil detail or fingernails or anything crazy like that. But as far as a minifigure goes, it's a pretty solid sculpt with nice paint job. And I'm also impressed with the figure's articulation because, you know, normally these figures don't have much. All they really need to do is bend over. But he's actually got a ball joint in there. He's got a ball jointed hinge, so you could actually do a little bit of rotation with him and get some different poses. That's kind of fun. Once you got your pilot sitting in there though, that's when you want to get the secret weapon out. And that's when I brought out that Snapship separation tool to pop out that panel right behind the cockpit, which as you can see was not very difficult at all. It came more or less right out. And that's when the secret missile launcher went into its spot. So the secret missile launcher that I got with my Saber is this little guy here, and it holds 3 missiles in it. That's really great. I did have a little trouble getting them all to sit in there at once. And you'll see here, in fact, that as I'm trying to get them in, one of them starts popping off, then another one starts popping off. So they're a little odd, and that's partly because, you know, the way this missile launcher works is it's pressure-based. And the harder you push down, the more missiles are gonna fire. So that means you could, in theory, have all 3 firing at once, or you could have them kind of stagnated, going one at a time. Once you do get the missiles to launch, though, you'll see they're actually pretty powerful, and they fly pretty far. But surprisingly, despite them being spring-loaded, I actually think that the little green ones might do a little bit better. Not sure why that is. It might just be the fact that, again, it comes down to the pressure and you got to really push this thing down very hard to want them to launch far. So really the moral that I learned out of these is that both of them are a little finicky, but once you figure out the system, they will launch far. And if in that case, you're going to want to make sure that you've got a place to put them where you're not going to lose them because, yeah, they're going to get lost pretty quick if you don't. Now, if you made sure to keep that box lid, you can go ahead and pop them on the display stand and boom, you've got yourself your very first Snapship. And yeah, I really like that they did include that. I like how the shape of this thing looks also. Really helps them stand out. And again, if you kept that box, you could reuse that to stick all your missiles and any other spare parts into. But as for the ships, both of them are really awesome. And I think all of the ships are gonna look really great. There's 10, I believe, right now in this line. There's 6 for the good guys and 5 for the bad guys. And that's because one of the sets is actually a little bit of a smaller 2-pack, all of which have multiple builds. There's 6 of the good guy ships and 5 of the bad guy ships. And each one of them comes with a different mysterious UJU tech, as they say. So I think that the ships look really awesome across the board. I like the designs of them. I like the customization of them. That part's also really cool. That's what really got my attention more so than anything else with these toys is that customization. Because when I first saw these, in fact, my first thought was like, man, I want somebody out there to build some mechs with these. It's cool that we've got starships and all these jets, things like that. But as of now, there is one tank in this set. And I'm hoping that they make more things like that. I'm hoping that, in fact, if they make more Snapships, they do make some mech type things. Because I can really see great customization happening for that. And that would be like the dream come true, to finally have mech warrior or battletech giant robots running around that you could swap out the parts for. It's basically just sitting there waiting to happen, so I hope that they do that with the next phase of these toys. Now, as we saw at Toy Fair, all of these Snapships have integrated app technology. If you download the Snapships Dawn of Battle app onto your phone or whatever smart device you're using, you can use augmented reality to play with the ships, and that's really, really exciting. Just a thing to note, of course, when you do get the app, is it's about 93 megabytes to install, and then once you open it, there's another 121 megabytes as of the time of this video that has to be installed when that happens. So it's nearly 200 megabytes big, so just make sure you've got space for it. So there's my ship now. You can see it in augmented reality. It's gonna be a little hard to actually show you guys on my phone, I think, how this all is gonna work, but check that out. That is really cool. See if we can rotate the ship. Yes, we can. Wow. So there's the secret weapon that we're gonna get as well. See if we pull it out here, now you can see the ship. That's a lot of fun. And for anybody who uses different builds out there, you can just go ahead and you'll press these buttons on the side, and that will change which build you're using. So as you get all the ships here, you can go ahead and click into all of these. But even without the ships, you can still actually play with them, I believe. Yeah, there you go. You can actually still go ahead and check them all out. If you want to check out the building instructions, you can still do that and put it together in the app just so you can get a preview of how it all works. And boom, there is our other ship we just loaded up there. So yeah, even if you don't have all of the ships in your house, if you haven't actually bought all of them yet still, you could still actually play with it just like this. That's really cool. I like that a lot. I like the fact that you don't need to buy every single thing to actually interact with them. So that's a quick look at the app. Let's go ahead and finish up and talk about more of the things we liked about Snapships. So that's how the app works, and that's how the ships look, and these things are a lot of fun. I gotta say, like, this is a real favorite for me from this year. Mostly on the site, we tend to review action figures and that kind of thing. And at Toy Fair, you know, we'll see a lot of different things, but a lot of it doesn't really fit what we do. But I think that Snapships are really a perfect fit for what goes on here at Nerd News today. And I think it's really great for kids and adults. And they really share a lot of commonalities in terms of what people are gonna like about these. The designs are really cool. They're great throwbacks to nostalgic ships with a modern touch. And when you combine that with the app technology that's integrated into it, you've got a lot of different play methods with it. The customization also is great. I love the fact that you can do that. And best of all, you can mix and match all the parts, good guys and the bad guys. And I'm really hoping that some customizers are gonna do some really cool things with these ships out there. I know I talked about mechs before, but seriously, if someone doesn't make a mech, I'm gonna just scream. So someone out there, please make an awesome mech for me. The building of them is super simple, very easy, and very relaxing also. A lot of times you can get a Lego set that can be a little bit frustrating sometimes, especially when you have to go backwards and correct a step. But Snapships are really easy to put together, very easy to pull apart as well. And if you're looking for something to just chill out with, Snapships definitely are gonna get that for you. Snapships are gonna definitely get that mood there for you. They look great as just for display. You can have a lot of fun if you're a kid playing with them. They're just an excellent all-around toy that scratch a lot of itches for me as both a collector and somebody who wants to play with my stuff. I think PlayMonster has really knocked it out of the park with the Snapships, and I'm very looking forward to seeing what they do next with this line. And from what I can see, there's a lot of interest in these ships, and they've already shown up in stores, and I've seen them start to sell out, in fact, here and there. So I think they're definitely worth hunting down, picking up, and trying them out for yourself, because I really have no complaints with any of these toys at all. At this point, the only complaint I have is that I can't build a mech, but I'm hoping that they'll listen to me and solve that problem. I want a mech, can you tell? And if we can't get mechs, I'm hoping maybe for some bigger ships also. I want to get some really different size builds as well to help expand this universe. The app is really cool, but as for me and the kind of things I want to do with these, which is mostly just display them and customize them, you know, I could live without it. It's not a big deal for me, but I know it's a major selling point to them, and it fits in line with the rest of the stuff that they're doing at PlayMonster with toys like My Singing Monsters. So again, there's lots of different things you can do with Snapships, but at the end of the day, just as a toy, for my money, it's an excellent addition to your collection. So if you want to learn more about Snapships, you can go to snapship.com, and if you want to order one for yourself, go ahead and use our Amazon affiliate links below. If you use our links, it costs you nothing extra and helps support this YouTube channel. And hey, if you like this video, give us a thumbs up, and please subscribe to the channel to see all the other toy content we do here on Nerd News Today. So until next time, I'm Matthew. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys here next time.